Good morning. You're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting news on the hour this Tuesday morning. A 1-hour show we get for you every day to make sure you keep yourselves abreast with the news items which have been making it to the headlines this morning. When we talk of the hour ahead, we'll get you details and get you updates on the Maritime India Summit, which will begin in, say, an hour from now. We'll keep you updated on that as well. And also, we'll get you international updates. We'll get you updates from the world of sports and business as well. In fact, a packed 1 hour ahead to make sure that your tea or coffee or tastes better with us. Up next, we get to the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate 3-day Maritime India Summit 2021 today via video conferencing. Summit to work to propel India to the forefront of the global maritime sector. Denmark is the partner country for the 3-day summit. The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country crosses 1.47 crore. Phase 2 of vaccination began on Monday as 25 lakh beneficiaries registered on COVID portal on day 1 were vaccinated. 24.5 lakh are citizen beneficiaries. Global COVID-19 infections up for first time in 7 weeks. WHO urged countries not to relax measures to fight the disease. WHO Director General Tedros says if countries rely solely on vaccines, they are making a mistake. Basic public health measures remain the foundation of the response. And Nicolas Sarkozy gains the dubious distinction of being the second former president of modern France to be convicted for corruption. Court finds him guilty of trying to bribe a judge and influence peddling on Monday. Sentenced him to 3 years in jail with 2 years suspended. Swiss Open Badminton to begin today. PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal aim to return to the podium. All eyes on Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy, Chirag Shetty. Alright, those are the top stories we're tracking this hour. Up next, we get to the news in detail and we begin with the big story we're tracking. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating Maritime India Summit 2021 today via video conferencing. The Maritime India Summit 2021 is being organized by Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways on a virtual platform. The summit will conclude on 4th March. The summit will visualize a roadmap for India's maritime sector for next decade and will work to propel India to the forefront of the global maritime sector. Eminent speakers from several countries are expected to attend the summit and explore the potential business opportunities and investments in Indian maritime domain. Denmark is the partner country for the 3-day summit. Minister of State for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Mansukh Mandavia, yesterday launched the Maritime India Summit 2021 brochure. After the launch, Mandavia said that propelling growth and prosperity, the summit will offer an area of investment avenues to the investors in the Indian maritime sector.
वर्तमान समय में मैरीटाइम सेक्टर इंडिया के लिए एक उभरता सेक्टर है और इस समिट के माध्यम से मिनिस्ट्री की ओर से मैरीटाइम विजन 2030 भी इनॉग्रेट किए जाएंगे। प्रधानमंत्री जी की उपस्थिति में हो रहे मैरीटाइम समिट में दुनिया के कई कंट्री ने बहुत उत्साह से पार्टिसिपेट किया है। खास करके पोर्ट सेक्टर, पोर्ट डेवलपमेंट, शिप बिल्डिंग, शिप ब्रेकिंग, सी फेयर इंस्टीट्यूट और पीपीपी मोड से बर्थ ऑपरेशन, ऐसे कई सेक्टर में कई कंपनी ने एमओयू भी किया है।
The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has crossed 1.47 crore today. After vaccinating health and frontline workers, the next phase of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from yesterday for those who are over 60 years of age and for people aged 45 and above with specified comorbid conditions. 25 lakh potential beneficiaries registered on the COVID portal on the first day. Out of this, 24.5 lakh are citizens and the rest are healthcare workers and frontline workers. A total of 4,27,072 vaccine doses were given till yesterday. That is the 45th day of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination. In Jammu and Kashmir, 34 private hospitals have been authorized for COVID-19 vaccination at the rate of Rs 250 per dose. While over 1,100 government hospitals up to the level of primary health centers are active for second phase of inoculation, the state government has kept vaccine registration open for healthcare and frontline workers who were covered in the phase 1 for one more week, as some of them have been left out.
जो कोरोना के खिलाफ ये जंग लड़ी जा रही है उसमें भी हमारी भागीदारी होगी। इससे बड़ा अच्छा सहयोग हम और क्या दे सकते हैं।
गवर्नमेंट हैज स्टार्टेड द थर्ड फेज। उसमें हमारे जो 60 ईयर से ऊपर हैं या जिनको 45 और 60 के बीच में है लेकिन कोई बीमारी है, कोमॉर्बिडिटी है, उनको आज से हम शुरू कर रहे हैं।
सबको टीका लगवाना चाहिए ताकि कोरोना को हम अपने देश से भगा सकें। इंजेक्शन आज लग रहे हैं वैक्सीनेशन के, तो सभी लोगों ने लगवाने चाहिए और सभी लोगों के लिए जरूरी है।
हमारे यहाँ पे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में तकरीबन हमारे 4,876 हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स थे। उनमें से हमने 3,532 लोगों को वैक्सीन फर्स्ट डोज दे दी थी।
Assam Health Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine yesterday as the state government launched the third phase of the inoculation drive for senior citizens and people in the age group of 45 to 59 years with comorbidities. The 52-year-old minister was administered the first dose of the vaccine at Guwahati Medical College Hospital, where several prominent people, including retired bureaucrats, also received their first dose. After getting vaccinated, Sarma urged all those under the specified category to take their doses. He said that across Assam, our hospitals are geared up for speedy rollout of the vaccination. All right, talking of more, we are joined by our correspondent Mridu Smita to get us more. Mridu, good morning. When we talk of the vaccination drive, let us know the progress of the vaccination drive across Guwahati, or for that matter across the state of Assam. Talk more about it. How was the day yesterday? Because we've told our viewers that record number of vaccination doses were given all across the country. You spell out more details.
Yes, definitely. Since yesterday, the comorbid people were given the vaccination, and the senior citizens have also got the first dose of the vaccination. As according to the NHM bulletin, they had issued the figures. On one first day itself, more than 270 people of the comorbid people have received the first dose of the vaccination, and almost 800 the senior citizens have also received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccination. And as I was present in the Guwahati Medical College Hospital yesterday, where prominent people like the retired personnel of the Assam government, the chief secretary, they had come for they had got the first dose of the vaccination. And in fact, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, the health minister, he has also received the first dose yesterday. He falls under the category of comorbid category, and he has also urged people to come for the COVID-19 vaccination, because this is the only, to fight against this disease. This is the only matter of fact that we can fight against this COVID-19. And yes, of course, since the election is around the corner, the officials, the election presiding officers, they are also given the first dose of the vaccination, because they are likely to get contact with the people as the voters will be coming in the polling station. So for that also they are given the vaccination. And so far, at least till yesterday, the number of people that were given the first dose are like the people who are the medical representatives, the staff, medical staff, the frontline workers. They have received the second dose. Almost it is over, and almost around in one day itself, more than 10,000 people are being vaccinated all over Assam.
All right, 10 lakh people have been vaccinated across Assam. Smita, I would also want you to let us know about the current situation when we talk in the state with regard to COVID-19 cases, because we've seen that some states have been reporting a rise in the cases in the last few days. You spell out how is the situation like there in the state of Assam?
Yes, you see the COVID-19 positive cases, at least till yesterday, 33 number of positive cases were recorded, and however, the number of death was only 1 yesterday, and it is under control as per the Department of Health, as because per day almost almost 20,000 tests are being done, and out of that 33 is quite a minimum number, and these COVID cases they are one that is from Kamrup Metro, it is 23, and 7 from district of Tinsukia, and 3 are from Dibrugarh district. So it is quietly under control, and as the vaccination process have started, it seems that in the coming future things will be more better in the current future.
All right, so we are hopeful that things will be better in the future. Thank you so much, Midhu Smita, for joining us with those updates. That was our correspondent, Midhu Smita, joining us from Guwahati, letting us know about the progress of the vaccination drive in the state. We'll keep you updated. Let's talk of the numbers now. India reports 16,577 new COVID-19 cases as per the Union Health Ministry. 12,464 recoveries were made, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 1 lakh. That is, the cumulative number of the patients has risen to more than 1 crore, 7,98,921. Now, with this, the recovery rate currently stands at 97.07%. Now, India's three-pronged strategy of test, trace and treat is proving to be a success. Fatality rate has dropped to 1.41% with 1,57,248 deaths recorded so far. The number of active COVID-19 cases in India stands at 1,68,358, which is 1.51% of the total cases reported so far. Total vaccination has been done to 1,48,54,136 people, with 5,52,639 vaccinations undertaken yesterday. Made in India, 40,000 doses of vaccine has arrived in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have been received by Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves. Made in India, Covishield vaccines were destined for 40 ECS countries, and Suriname was received by Antigua Prime Minister Gaston Brown in Antigua. Prime Minister Brown was very appreciative and thanked Prime Minister Modi effusively for benevolence of the country in keeping with India's determination to help countries fight the pandemic. Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, has tweeted, and I quote him, thanking Prime Minister Modi for 500,000 AstraZeneca vaccines that he generously and selflessly shared with the Caribbean to assist in the fight against COVID. India will send a consignment of 1,000 metric tons of rice and 1 lakh tablets of HCQ to Madagascar. Now, this comes in response to the urgent appeal made by government of Madagascar for assistance to deal with the humanitarian crisis in south of Madagascar due to severe drought. Indian naval ship Jalashva will leave with food and medical assistance and is expected to reach the port of Ehola in Madagascar between 21st and 24th of March. The prompt Indian assistance to Madagascar was conveyed by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in a phone conversation with Foreign Minister of Madagascar, Dr. Oliver. During this trip, INS Jalashwa will also have on board an Indian naval training team which is being deployed in Madagascar for capacity building and training of the Malagasy Special Forces for 2 weeks. INS Jalashwa will also call at Port Anjun in the Republic of Comoros, where it will deliver a consignment of 1,000 metric tons of Indian rice. Time now to get you a global update on the COVID-19 situation. When we talk of the situation across the world, more than 11 crore 49 lakh 77,000 people have contracted COVID-19 globally, while the tally of recovery stands above 9 crore 6 lakh 72,000. Now, these people have recovered from the virus. The viral disease has claimed over 25 lakh 49,000 lives worldwide. The US continues to remain worst affected from COVID-19, where more than 2 crore 93 lakh 10,000 COVID cases have been quoted. The country's fatalities have crossed 5 lakh 27,000, followed by Brazil, which has registered over 2 lakh 55,000 deaths. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus has noted that for the first time in 7 weeks, the number of COVID-19 cases has increased last week after 6 consecutive weeks of declining numbers. He said the WHO is working to better understand why cases increased, but that part of the spike appeared to be due to relaxing of public health measures.
In the past week, the number of reported cases of COVID-19 increased for the first time in 7 weeks. You remember that I reported the virus was on a decline for consecutive 6 weeks. But first time in 7 weeks, we have a COVID increase. Reported cases increased in 4 of WHO's 6 regions: the Americas, Europe, Southeast Asia, and the Eastern Mediterranean.
WHO DG has described the increase as disappointing, but said that it was not surprising. He has urged countries not to relax measures to fight the disease. He added that it was a little too early for countries to rely solely on vaccination programs and abandon other measures.
This is disappointing, but not surprising. We're working to better understand these increases in transmission. Some of it appears to be due to relaxing of public health measures, continued circulation of variants, and people letting down their guard. Vaccines will help to save lives, but if countries rely solely on vaccines, they are making a mistake. Basic public health measures remain the foundation of the response.
California's governor and Democratic lawmakers had reached a deal to fund the reopening of schools for the state's youngest students as number of new COVID-19 cases dropped to their lowest this year. California's $6.6 billion budget package marks the latest effort by a U.S. state to get school children back in classrooms. California governor expects all transitional kindergarten to grade 2 to open within the next month. The $6.6 billion in funds goes in part to pay for additional personal protective gear and improved classroom ventilation. The deal would also make vaccines of teachers and other school employees a priority in California. The United States has recorded over 2 crore 93 lakh cases of COVID infections and over 5 lakh 27,000 COVID-related deaths since the pandemic began. France has changed its earlier stance, allowing to provide AstraZeneca's COVID-19 jab to its people with comorbidities aged above 65. When AstraZeneca vaccine was approved for use by European Union regulators, France mandated that it would go only to the eligible people under 65, citing that the data from trials in older age groups was limited. The country will also retain its current measuring aimed at curbing the COVID-19 pandemic. including a nighttime curfew, as a bare minimum for the next 4 to 6 weeks. France has registered over 37,60,000 cases of COVID-19 with more than 86,000 deaths. Slovakia received its initial batch of Russia's Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine. The country will buy 2 million more doses of the vaccine from Russia in a bid to boost vaccination drive against COVID-19. Slovakia's health minister said that he would approve the vaccine's use later on Monday, and the country could start using them for volunteers in 2 weeks at the earliest after inspecting the first batches. There have been over 3,08,900 cases of COVID-19, with death toll crossing 7,200. Uruguay has ramped up to immunize its population against COVID-19, providing the first jab to its essential workers in the capital city of Montevideo. The essential workers include healthcare workers, firefighters, and police officers. Some 95 vaccine centers were installed in hospitals and some public areas around Montevideo. The South American country has been seeing cases mounting above 58,500 with more than 600 fatalities. Clashes broke out between Chilean high school students and police in downtown Santiago on Monday as the students gathered to protest the reopening of schools and colleges during the pandemic. Chilean riot police detained several students and took them away in police vans. Police also used water cannons and barricaded some of Santiago's main thoroughfares to dispel the crowd. Chilean schools are holding both in-person and online classes, but protesting students are calling for all in-person tuition to end due to the deadly virus. COVID-19 has claimed over 20,000 lives in the South American country. Up next, we're heading for a short commercial break. You're watching News on the Hour on DD India. Stay with us. We'll be back in a short while.
Namaste land.
Marhaban ila al-Hind.
Zari India.
Salam India. Namaste India.
Namaskar Bharata. Nous sommes l'Inde.
نحن هنود. India. Ma Hindi hasti. Hindiani.
Salam Hindustan.
We are India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching News on the Hour on DD India. Let's get you more international updates. Minister for Foreign Affairs of New Zealand, Danaya Mahuta, spoke to External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Monday over phone. The ministers discussed bilateral issues, shared vision of the Indo-Pacific and regional issues, rollout of the COVID-19 vaccines and expectations about post-COVID recovery. In a tweet, Minister of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand said, and I quote her, "A warm first conversation with Dr. S. Jaishankar and a useful exchange about our respective COVID-19 health response, our common aspirations in the Indo-Pacific region and international education." Mahuta was appointed as the Foreign Minister of New Zealand in November 2020 after the landslide victory of the Labour Party under leadership of Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. She is the first woman and the first Maori to be appointed as the Foreign Minister of New Zealand. Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear has declared a state of emergency after an extremely heavy rainfall swamped US's southeastern state over the weekend. The state of emergency allows the governor to mobilize state resources needed to support cities and counties impacted by severe flooding. Kentucky National Guard has also been activated and is responding to assist with high water emergencies. Meanwhile, additional rainfall is likely to become runoff, leading to the threat of flash flooding. The US State Department has called on Hong Kong authorities to release those still held and drop charges against them. US State Department spokesman Ned Price said that Washington continues to call on Beijing to stop undermining Hong Kong's autonomy. He added that recent detentions of pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong show how the national security law imposed by Beijing is being used to stifle dissent. The United States has warned Myanmar's military rulers on Monday that it would take more action if the country's security forces continue to kill unarmed people and attack journalists and activists. US State Department spokesman Ned Price said that there will be additional measures forthcoming from the United States if the Burmese military refuses to restore the democratically elected government.
If the Burmese military continues down this path, if the Burmese military refuses to restore the democratically elected government and to cease this abhorrent violence against peaceful demonstrators, there will be additional measures forthcoming from the United States.
Also, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, has said that she hopes to use Washington's presidency of the United Nations Security Council in March to push for more intense discussions on Myanmar.
We do have to ramp up the pressure. The Security Council, I was pleased, expressed in a unanimous press statement its concerns about the situation in Burma. So that's a sign that we can come together and cooperate in areas where it matters. So I hope to use our time as president of the council to push for more intense discussions on that issue.
Earlier, Myanmar's ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi appeared at a court hearing via video conferencing. It was her first appearance after February 1st military coup. Meanwhile, anger continues to stir up in Myanmar, with Monday being the deadliest day when a total of 18 protesters were killed in clashes with Yangon police during an anti-coup protest. Myanmar's elected civilian government was deposed on February 1st by military leader Suu Kyi. President Win Myint and other leaders of the National League for Democracy were arrested in a series of raids after the coup. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy was found guilty of corruption on Monday and has been sentenced to 3 years in prison with 2 years suspended. A Paris court found that Sarkozy, aged 66 years of age, had tried to bribe a judge after leaving office and to peddle influence in exchange for confidential information about an investigation into his 2007 campaign finances. Sarkozy, who led France from 2007 to 2012, had denied any wrongdoing. He said that he was the victim of a witch hunt by financial prosecutors who used excessive means to snoop on his affairs. Retired from politics but still influential among the Conservatives, Sarkozy has 10 days to appeal the ruling. He is the second former president in modern France after late Jacques Chirac to be convicted of corruption. Prosecutors persuaded the judges that Sarkozy had offered to secure a plum job in Monaco for Judge Gilbert Azibert in return for confidential information about an inquiry into allegations that he had accepted illegal payments from L'Oreal hirers Lilian Bettencourt for his 2007 presidential campaign. Sarkozy left the court without speaking, but his lawyer said that he would appeal and prove his innocence. Investigators had been wiretapping conversations between Sarkozy and his lawyer Thierry Herzog from 2013 as they delved into allegations of Libyan financing of Sarkozy's 2007 campaign. European Council President Charles Michel met with leaders of Georgia's current government as well as members of the opposition on Monday to discuss a political crisis that has led to street protests and the resignation of Prime Minister last month. The European Union has called on all sides to intensify their efforts to de-escalate the situation and get together to find common ground. Police last week detained Nika Melia, chairman of the United National Movement opposition party, after storming its offices and clashing with his supporters. Melia had been accused of inciting violence at street protests in June 2019, a charge he dismisses as politically motivated. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price said that the United States is focused on future conduct of Saudi Arabia after it sanctioned some Saudi officials over the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, but fell short of sanctions against Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Price said that future arms sales to Saudi Arabia will be evaluated on the basis of U.S. interests and values and urged Saudi Arabia to disband its rapid intervention force.
We are very focused on future conduct, and that is part of why we have cast this not as a rupture, but a recalibration. We are trying to get to the systemic issues underlying the brutal murder of Jamal Khashoggi. It's precisely why the Department of the Treasury sanctioned Ahmed al-Asiri for his direct role in the Istanbul operation. It's also why we designated this underlying group, the Rapid Intervention Force, as an entity under the Global Magnitsky Act. It's precisely why we've added 76 individuals to the Khashoggi ban, and it's precisely why we announced that Khashoggi ban in the first place.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that a disappointing $1.7 billion had been pledged by countries on Monday for humanitarian aid in Yemen. Now, this is less than half the $3.85 billion which the world body was seeking for 2021 to avert a large-scale famine. United Nations said that some 16 million Yemenis, more than half the population of the Arabian Peninsula, are still going hungry.
For most people, life in Yemen is now unbearable. Childhood in Yemen is a special kind of hell. Yemeni children are starving. Today, reducing aid is a death sentence for entire families. With the war raging, Yemen's children are paying the price. This is not the moment to step back from Yemen. We must equal and surpass the levels of funding we had in 2018. This year, we need $3.85 billion to support 16 million Yemenis on the brink of catastrophe.
Among the commitments on Monday were Saudi Arabia with $430 million, United States with $191 million, UAE with $230 million, and with Germany with $240 million. And up next, we get you some business-related news now. Benchmark index was off to a strong start today, following a 2% surge in the US stocks overnight. The sentiment turned positive globally over the progress of US stimulus package, strong auto sales data, GDP numbers released last week, and calming bond yields also supported the sentiment. Currently, BSE Sensex is trading at around 50,245.91, up by 396.07 points or 0.79%. Nifty was up by 127.15 points or 0.86% at 14,888.7. Asian stocks turned mixed after gaining in early trade. Japan's Nikkei and Hong Kong Hang Seng fell up to 1%, while Korea's Kospi and Taiwan's Taipex advanced up to 1.7%. US lawmakers are pushing to get Joe Biden's huge stimulus through Congress in the next 2 weeks, which lifted spirits on trading floors, with Wall Street providing a powerful lead driven by a rally in tech firms. The US Senate will start debating President Joe Biden's COVID-19 relief bill this week. All right, to get on to more of it, Shama Mishra is joining us from Mumbai. Shama, you're at the financial capital. We tell our viewers that the benchmark indices started on a strong note today, and the reasons also have been enlisted. You speak in detail about the reasons and what do we expect through the day?
What we saw on Friday, the bloodbath happening on the Dalal Street. After that, yesterday also we saw a rise in the trading sessions, and yesterday and today, both the days, the Sensex and Nifty are trading in green, and the reasons you've already spelled out. First of all, we are seeing that international factors such as the stimulus package progressing, and another factor is also that another vaccine would be getting approval from the US, and that is why the US markets are trading in a green zone. Mirroring that, most of the Asian markets are also trading in a green zone, and hence our markets are also picking it up and having it in their stride. Apart from that, we are also seeing domestic factors such as buying of the of the stocks by the FII, and that's about to the tune of 125 crores. That is one factor. Another factor is the GST collection. That is also up if we are comparing it from the last year. So these factors are coming in, and most of the investors are buying the stocks right now instead of selling. So that is why we are seeing both Nifty and Sensex trading in a green zone, and today this rally is likely to continue for the week, for the upcoming week. Preeti?
All right, you're telling us this rally is to continue for the coming week as well. I want you to speak more on that. Assurance coming in for the investors?
Definitely, assurance is coming in for the investors, but like we've always said, that you have to be careful when you are trading with caution is the mantra when you're going on the Dalal Street, and always look out for the mid caps or the large caps stocks that you are going to trade in. After the budget that we saw earlier, the PSUs, the banks of the PSUs are really trading in a good zone, because the talks of privatization has happened. It is still continuing. So these sectors, the banking sectors of the PSU, is trading in a good zone. Apart from that, we also saw auto sales coming in. So the Hero MotoCorp, that numbers have come in. That is trading in a good zone. Apart from that, many other the stocks are trading in a green zone, taking cues from the international and the domestic factors, and that is why green zone is happening overall in the Nifty and Sensex.
All right, Shama, thank you so much for joining us with that input. That's our correspondent Shama Mishra joining us from Mumbai and letting us know about the positivity in the markets. We'll keep you updated. Let's get you good numbers, good news and good numbers coming in from GST front as well. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of February this year is 1,13,143 crore rupees, out of which the CGST is 21,092 crore rupees, SGST is 27,273 crore rupees, IGST is 55,253 crore rupees, and cess is 9,525 crore rupees. In line with the trend of recovery in the GST revenues over past 5 months, the revenues for the month of February 2021 are 7% higher than the GST revenues in the same month last year. The GST revenues crossed 1 lakh for the 5th time in a row and crossed 1.1 lakh crore rupees for the 3rd time in a row post-pandemic, despite this being revenue collection of the month of February. Now, this is a clear indication of the economic recovery and the impact of various measures taken by the tax administration to improve compliance. privatization bound, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited on Monday said that it will exit Numaligarh refinery in Assam by selling its entire stake to a consortium of Oil India Limited and Engineers India Limited for 9,876 crore rupees. The sale of Numaligarh Refinery Limited clears the way for privatization of India's second largest fuel retailer. In keeping with the Assam Peace Accord, the government has decided to keep Numaligarh Refinery Limited, that is NRL, in the public sector. As part of this, BPCL was to sell its entire 61.65% stake to state-owned firms. A consortium of Oil India Limited, Engineers India Limited and the government of Assam expressed interest in buying the stake, and also the BPCL board on Monday approved the sale. Meanwhile, the government has received multiple bids for privatization of Shipping Corporation of India. Department of Investment and Public Asset Management in December had invited expressions of interest for strategic disinvestment of its entire stake of 63.75% in Shipping Corporation of India, along with transfer of the management. The last date for submitting the bids was February 13, which was later extended to March 1st. Yesterday, DIPAM's secretary said that after receiving multiple EOI, the transaction will now move to the second stage. The cabinet had in November last year given an in-principle approval for strategic divestment of Shipping Corporation and Container Corporation of India Limited. However, the plans were delayed due to the pandemic. And now let's turn focus to sports. We'll talk of tennis. Second seed PV Sindhu will look to strike form as she takes guard at the Swiss Open Badminton World Federation Super 300 tournament, which begins in Basel today. All right, we're getting you this update in the field of badminton, and in tennis, we'll get you updates in a while from now. Very quickly, let's continue with this. Sindhu may face former champion Saina Nehwal in the semis. Swiss Open will also witness Sameer Verma, HS Pranoy and Kidambi Srikanth participating in the men's singles. Badminton World Federation World Tour Swiss Open will resume the Olympic qualification window, with the Chinese and many top Asian shuttlers preferring to opt out of the tournament. The field looks quite weak. After a disappointing run during the two Thailand Opens and BWF World Tour finals last month, Indian shuttlers will be looking to bounce back and take charge for Tokyo qualification. Indian table tennis stars Manika Batra and Harmeet Desai started the 2021 season on a winning note. The duo earned straight set victories in the respective qualifying round, 2 matches at the World Table Tennis Contender in Doha on Monday. Indian paddlers are making a comeback to the international circuit after a break and participating in the first international tournament of the calendar year. Batra registered a 12-10, 14-12, 11-8 victory against her Spanish opponent Sofia Juan Zhang in the women's singles, while Desai notched up an easy 11-5, 12-10, 11-6 win against compatriot Anthony Amalraj to progress into the third round of the men's singles qualifiers. The tournament, which kicks off the 2021 season, is also the first international tournament the Indian players are participating in after the COVID-forced lockdown. Britain's Andy Murray began his journey registering a victory at the Rotterdam Open on Monday. Former world number 1 Murray had to rally from 0-3 in the third set to take down fellow wildcard Robin Haase for 2-6, 7-6, 6-3. Murray outclassed Haase after 2 hours and 29 minutes as the match became a physical battle. He struck 33 winners, including 6 aces, en route to his first tour-level victory since the 2020 US Open. Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr. came off the bench to snatch a 1-1 draw at home to Real Sociedad at the Spanish La Liga on Monday. Zinedine Zidane's Madrid side hit the bar twice in the first half, but the visitors took the lead in the 55th minute with a towering error from forward Porto. Toni Kroos came close to levelling with a curling effort that just missed the target, but Brazilian youngster Vinicius eventually found an equalizer in the 89th minute with a deflected effort from inside the area. Now with this draw, Real Madrid's continuous win in past 5 matches came to a halt. And former opener Marcus Trescothick has been appointed as England's new elite batting coach. England and Wales Cricket Board announced this on Monday, while John Lewis and Jeetan Patel have been named as England's pace and spin bowling coaches respectively. Trescothick will take up the new role in middle of March. He will step down from his role as assistant coach at Somerset County Cricket Club. Trescothick has scored over 10,000 international runs for England across the formats between 2000 and 2006. And very quickly, we'll get to the health tip of the day. Many people think that cataracts only happen to older people. Well, children can also get cataracts. Take a look at this report to know more on pediatric cataracts.
Pediatric cataract is the leading cause of childhood blindness. Cataracts occur when changes in the lens of the eye causes it to become less transparent. This results in cloudy or misty vision. Blindness related to pediatric cataracts can be treated with early detection and appropriate management.
Even the pediatric age group, the kids are born with cataract or childhood cataract, which can happen in children less than 5 years of age. In the young, you can get galactosemia. So you can have metabolic disorders which can cause cataract. You can get cataract because of infections like rubella, which are transmitted from the mother to the child, and the child will have cataract from the birth. Even the retina of these kids is abnormal, and you have retinopathy, which is seen in these cases. You can have cataracts because of unknown reasons in pediatric age group, which is called iatrogenic, or you can have cataract because of thyroid or parathyroid endocrine systems going haywire. You can have cataracts in these patients which are called zonular cataract, meaning that the age when the cataract happens, that layer gets involved and the layer before and afterwards are clear. Children after 2 to 5 years when they start walking and going out, they can get hurt in trauma, especially trauma to the eye, which can cause cataract, especially children playing with cricket ball or small bow and arrow injuries can also cause cataract in this patient.
Pediatric cataract is treatable cause of blindness in children. Most cases are diagnosed on routine screening, whereas some may be diagnosed after the parents have noticed some symptoms in the child's eye. Favorable outcomes depend not only on effective surgery but also on post-operative care and visual rehabilitation.
But these children who are 2 months, 2 years old will live about 80 years for you. So you have to give something which can last for 80 years. So the early we operate these patients, the better it is, because the system of the eye and the brain is very immature, and if you don't give vision right now, they'll stay blind forever in their life. So all the parents in which they find the child when he goes into sunlight closes his eyes, or he squints one of the eye, or there's an abnormal movement of the eye, or he brings things too close to the face to read, should consult the doctor. It's a very simple test. We put a drop of dilating the pupil, and once the pupil dilates, we throw a light and see if the light is getting obstructed by the cataract. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds to pick up this disease, and if we can pick up early, we can treat this one, operate, and make our children see well in their life.
Cataracts that affect vision that are not quickly treated can sometimes cause irreversible damage to the eyesight, including permanently lazy eye or even blindness in severe cases. Get your child for eye examination regularly. This may help to identify the eye problem in the child at an early stage. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
Yes, that was the health tip of the day. Take care of your eyes and make sure you take care of the eyes of your children as well. Let's get to now the events which made this day special in history. It's the 2nd of March today. Let's take a look at the important events which took place on this day.
On 2nd March 1807, in the United States, Congress enacted a law to prohibit the importation of slaves into any port or place within the jurisdiction of the US. It was on this day in 1836, Texas declared independent from Mexico. During the Texas Revolution, a convention met at Washington on the Brazos and declared the independence of Texas from Mexico. On 2nd March 1949, freedom fighter and poet Sarojini Naidu passed away in Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. She took part in national movement, became a follower of Mahatma Gandhi and fought for the attainment of Swaraj. She was the first governor of Uttar Pradesh. It was on this day in 1957, Central Warehouse Corporation was established in New Delhi with 91.99 lakh metric tons of storage capacity spread over 473 units. It was on this very day in 1972, world's first outer planetary probe, Pioneer 10, was launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida on a mission to Jupiter. Pioneer 10 reached Jupiter and sent back to Earth the first images of the spectacular gas giant. On 2nd March 2006, former US President George W. Bush and the then Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement.
83 runners from 6 countries challenged themselves to brave Siberian sub-zero temperatures to take part in the Baikal Ice Marathon. The main 42-kilometer race was won by Alexei Smirtin, former captain of the Russian national soccer team. Participants raced across frozen waters of the world's deepest lake in Russia's Irkutsk region to complete the marathon and compete at marathon and half marathon distances. Now, this year, the weather was kind to the athletes. Instead of well-known and documented extreme winds and snowstorms, the runners were greeted with sunny, dry weather. Alright, in news that came as a welcome surprise to zookeepers in New Orleans Audubon Zoo, an endangered Sumatran orangutan was born on Sunday. Now, according to Audubon Nature Institute, the primary team expected first-time mother Reese to deliver between April and May. The mother and baby appear to be doing well, and the staff is observing the pair and allowing them to bond and learn to nurse. The institute said there are fewer than 14,000 orangutans in the wild, making the species critically endangered. Beautiful images there. Nigerian artist Nathaniel Hodunu cuts coconut shells and shapes them into leaf-shaped designs for his latest art project in Nigeria's megacity Lagos. His studio is located in the city's Badagry coastal area, where many coconut plantations are rooted. The 49-year-old later began sourcing coconut shells to make more art pieces as local coconut oil factories discarding them as waste. His artwork includes portraits, sculptures, plus home and beauty accessories. Honodu's pieces are finished to give them a natural look or painted in different vibrant colors. He now runs a quarterly training program for art lovers and enthusiasts to learn creative ways of using coconut shells. All right, the visuals are a true example of creativity at its best. On from here, we go back to our top story. We told you that in a short while from now, Prime Minister will be inaugurating Maritime India Summit 2021 via video conferencing. And to get us more on that, our correspondent Abhishek Jha will be joining us in a short while from now. And also as we speak, we tell you that Maritime India Summit 2021 is being organized by the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways on a virtual platform. Abhishek is joining us to get us more on that. Abhishek, spell out more details. How will this summit be a platform for India to further prosper the maritime opportunities, in the maritime sector?
So, Preeti, this summit aims to actually showcase India's ability in terms of maritime development, its capacity, and its need also. In fact, this platform will have almost 20 around ministerial meetings, sessions from CEOs from across the globe, and so many stakeholders, policymakers, industrialists, and infrastructure development project managers. They will be sharing their inputs also as to what is the future of maritime security in terms of both commercial, trade, strategic affairs. And India is one of the countries which is trying to get away with its past and become more prominent authority at the global platform in terms of economy, strategy and maritime security. And for that, it needs to have more secured and more prosperous sea routes also. For that, it needs a lot of investment. And those investments cannot happen only from the side of government. So India also needs a lot of players who can actually come and invest in India's maritime sector. And this platform gives a good opportunity for Indian government and Indian private sectors to actually collaborate with its international partners on maritime security and maritime cooperation. India has been one of the key developers of maritime security and maritime ecosphere in its neighboring countries. We know that Chabahar port in Iran is one of the projects that India has been continuously engaged with. In fact, last month only India has provided with 2 new cranes also to that port in the west. In the east, if we talk, India has been engaged with this Kaladan river project and making Sitwe port, which is almost finished now, and soon it is going to be inaugurated. So with all this kind of investment in the neighborhood sector, India is trying to develop its new opportunity, new markets, new avenues where it can reach out to countries like if you talk about Chabahar port. Chabahar is one point where from where the opportunities and the gateways opens up for the newer venues of Central